Thank you, folks. A lot of people come up to me and say, what in the hell are you doing in the state of Louisiana? And I respond by saying, damned if I know. But I do know a couple of things. My wife is from New Orleans, went to school at LSU. And when I first met her, she reminded me that I had been here with the USC football team, played in Baton Rouge against LSU. It was a memorable game. We got a fortuitous call from the umpire, who was my cousin, and we won the game. Now, I meet my wife at a bank. She was a bank officer, and she came up to me and wanted me to do something. And so we got talking, and I said, well, where did you go to school? She says, I went to LSU, and I'm from New Orleans. And I said, oh, we played down there once. And she said, yes, I remember you played. I was there, and you cheated to win the game. And I said, God damn, you're right. She was good looking, so you knew I was going to lie. But that began our time together, and we've moved to Baton Rouge. It was something she's always wanted to do. And fortunately, I've got a chance to know Ed Orgeron. Ed was the assistant at USC when I was there in a kind of a part-time job. And Ed and I got to be friends, and we would talk about football. And when Ed came here and then ascended to the job, we kind of renewed our friendship. I found Ed to be one of the most innovative and curious coaches, you know, that we all learn a certain skill and aren't sometimes not very curious about trying to change it or improve it. He has done that every year. And this year he was determined to expand the offensive team at LSU. He has gone out and obtained a young coach on the New Orleans Saints staff, Joe Brady, and mixed him in with the coaching staff. I work in the offensive room. I don't do a hell of a lot of work, but I'm in that room, and they are doing a great thing. Fortunately, Joe Burrow, our quarterback, has come, but we have one of the most dynamic offenses that I've seen. Joe Brady brought some of that with him from the Saints, who have with Drew Brees, have a very dynamic offense. So we're really excited about what's happening at LSU. We feel like we're great recruiters, not me, but Ed and his staff. So I think our recruiting will continue to grow. We are 4-0 right now. Boy, and there's nothing like being 4-0, unless it's 5-0 or something more. But being 4-0, undefeated, Brad, you know all about it. Anytime somebody says you guys are undefeated, yes, there's something. And for me, I'm 114 years old, and I am so damn excited to be part of the team. I'm a very small part of this team, but to be part of something like that, I missed it so much when I retired, and now I'm back. So I'm enjoying that. We play Utah State this weekend. Utah State, not a well-known team, but they've got an excellent passing game and frighten us a little bit. But what's really serious is, as you go down the road, it's Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, Alabama, and so on, Texas A&M. So in order for us to achieve what we really want to and hope to achieve, we've got to continue to improve. And that's hard. As the weeks go on, players get tired. We've had a week off. We had a bye this weekend, so that was great. I think our legs are coming back and some of those kind of things. But the ability to improve from where we are now to where we need to be when we face some of these formidable teams is really one of the essence of coaching. I think Ed is very tuned into that. Kind of brought me along to participate with the team in that thing of bringing up ideas, bringing up thoughts, observations. When you're coaching or you're playing, you're so caught up on just surviving, just getting through the day, just trying to block the SOB that's in front of you, that you lose some of that. And I think he's done a great job of that. So I think things are great at LSU. It's an impressive place. And I think it's important that you know my wife is still pissed at me for that damn game. I'll be happy to answer any questions any of you have. Yes, sir.
Coach, I happen to be at that game too.
And you're pissed, I know.
Not only was it one of the greatest games I've ever seen, but the talent on the field that night was unbelievable. But I have a comment, not a question. Most famous people travel with a bodyguard, but you travel with an interpreter. To get you around.
And I don't understand the thing he says. You all know Charlie, I think he's been in the, stand up, Charlie. Somebody back there?
Coach, out of all your teams, pro and college, who is the best football player you coach?
Whoa. You know, some names come to mind. One particularly you might not remember, Anthony Munoz. You remember? Moon was one of those, and a great human being, great guy. He comes down, Ed and he have gotten to be real good friends, and he comes down, he visits LSU every couple times a year. But Anthony Munoz as an offensive lineman was really astounding. Ronnie Locke played safety for us at USC. He was great. And probably the runners, I was fortunate to be around Marcus Allen. I thought was one of the was a complete football player. If he'd be playing now, he could catch the ball, he could pass block. He was unusual. Eric Dickerson, who was just phenomenal. But the reason they were good is because I was such a good coach. I just stepped aside and said, go. And that was good coaching. But those names come up, you know, as being great. There were others, you know. I've always been partial to the offensive lineman. I feel like it's the most important coaching, the offensive line coach. You don't know who he is. His shirt's out. He hasn't shaved. He's you know, got the weight of the world on him, because nobody ever says anything to him until the quarterback is sacked or the runner doesn't make any yards, and then who in the hell is the line coach? But the best coaches I've known in my life have been deep offensive line coaches, and so I have great admiration for all the linemen that we were around. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you talk about legs coming back. You're fortunate enough this year you have 2 buys. How does that work? Most would usually get 1 buy a season. How does it work that you get 2 buys? You can ask, schedule around it? Or?
Well, if you bribe the people enough, they give you what you want. I think it's just, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's the opportunity now is there. You can start that last week in August to play into December a week, I think. So I think there's room enough for it, and I think more teams will certainly go to it. Both Alabama and LSU traditionally have a bye the week before their game, so both teams are rested. Sir.
Coach, just like I asked the 2A basketball coach, with this new law in California allowing college athletes to basically become professional, how do you think it'll affect the NCAA? And as a head coach, how was it that you all could not recruit a kid going to nowhere, Oklahoma, or nowhere, Iowa, or Starkville, Mississippi, when it's got such California's southern beaches, Hollywood? How did y'all recruit against a nowhere team, in the middle of nowhere with all beautiful California?
Would you repeat that, please? No, that's all right. I think I got it. The last part first. I don't know where it's going. The one thing I do know about California, they pass a hell of a lot of new laws out there. There's one every couple of weeks, and I don't know where it's going. I think if you're an athlete, you would be for it. If you're a coach, you would be against it. So there are constituents all over, and I don't think anybody has a clear picture of what's going to happen. The idea that you take any player, any of the Alabama players over the last years, they could have had, I don't know how much, $100,000 probably set aside for their future. Can't say that's bad. But the things that go on, or might go on, the increased number of agents that would be hanging around the campus, I worry about all that. I'm glad I don't have to deal with it, certainly in my time of coaching. The other half of that question was?
In other words, when you're in California, it's such a beautiful state, Malibu, Santa Monica, Carmel, California. How do y'all not use that to basically kill the colleges like in the middle of Iowa, Oklahoma?
Well, that's not, you don't recruit the same kids. If you grow up in the middle of Iowa, you think LA is maybe one of the worst cities in the history of the world. Most people do. Most parents say, my son ain't going out there, and teams tend to recruit in their own area. So I think that's an exaggeration. Teams with a great reputation, Notre Dame had that going back in the 40s and early 50s, where everybody wanted to go to Notre Dame, and now it's Alabama, Oklahoma, etc. So those things come and go. But I think schools that really are effective recruit people that would want to go to school there. The most fun that you can have is to see a family choose a school that they all care about, and that they all get to go to the games and all of that. So I think regional recruiting is still the dominant thing. Anybody, the last one?
A lot of people are thinking a lot about the 40th anniversary of the USC LSU game. What about your time with the Rams playing the Saints twice a year, the games that come to mind?
Yeah, I played, I think, 10. I loved it. I loved coming to New Orleans. There used to be a restaurant right down there that we would go on Saturday. Jimmy Moran, is that name of it? Jimmy, it wasn't that great a restaurant, but Jimmy Moran would feed he was a Rams fan for some reason, and he would feed the whole coaching staff, and we would go there and have a hell of a time, be hungover for the game on Sunday evening. But playing in the Superdome, I've always liked playing in the road in big stadiums. We played Texas early in the year. We had 100,000 there. It was nationally televised. God, that's as good as it gets. So that I thoroughly enjoyed that. But the one that sticks out with the Saints was the one where we're behind by 17. Were you playing in that game? No, yeah, that was the time and we throw to a guy named Flipper Anderson, who breaks the NCAA record and for, or not the NCAA, the NFL record for yards, 300 and some yards, and we just kept throwing in the ball. We didn't have any great, he wasn't that great a receiver, but he'd run deep and we'd catch it and we came back and won in the end. But those were great games, and those defensive guys, I was kind of the guy that was focused on the running game, and those guys could all play. Pat Swilling was I thought really good, and he was one of the first guys that came off the edge there on the weak side, and he was devastating. And I was coaching the Pro Bowl that year, this particular year, and I got one pick. They had a general vote, but the head coach of the Pro Bowl team got a pick, and I picked Pat Swilling. And I get a phone call from Jim Finks about a day after I picked it. Said, "You no good, rotten SOB." So what you talking about? I said, "You cost me $75,000. Then I had a bonus for it. And then when I got off the airplane, this is true, Pat Swilling he'd just gotten off another flight and saw me and came running over to me, put his arms around me and said, "God, I love you, and my wife loves you." He didn't give me anything. He didn't give me a tip or anything. I do remember it. It's a great guy. You know, you think about how lucky you are. You have the Saints, who are really one of the best organizations in the league. You've got LSU, and you've got a host of other high school football, and I know they take it very serious here, and a smaller college football. It's a great time to be rooting for your team, and you know, hopefully we all do well. LSU, God, it's fun to be there, and to go out in that stadium and not having everybody yell at me is really a treat. Thank you very much.